Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's IG live session with I and Living Out Loud basically and Grace Anu for. Alright, so let's see people join us this evening. And let me just say that we are live. Okay, welcome, Grace. It's so good to see you. Welcome. Thank you for joining me this beautiful evening. How are you doing today? Please confirm for me if you can hear me, Grace. I await your confirmation. Please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear, if I'm audible. Okay, while I wait for that, let me just see around and just let people know that we are live, and we are in for such a great time today. I can tell already, so let us see. Okay, I'm back. Welcome Major Davis Records and Deribella. Thank you for joining us this evening for our discussion. So Grace, I'm back, and okay, thank you also Ray D. I'm sorry if I'm not getting the pronunciation correctly, but please pardon me and just accept it with your good heart. All right, so Grace, I think we can just get started. So please request that you join this call so that I can have you on the screen with me. And while I'm waiting for Grace to join me on the screen, David, Deribella, Ray D, Paul, please let me know if you can hear me perfectly loud and clear. Okay. Hey, see the star lady for today. So much of natural beauty exuding. Like, oh my God, Grace, you look so good this evening.
Thank you very
It's
much.
so good to have you join me. I'm super elated and excited. I mean, you don't know what this makes me feel like. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation, my invitation actually, and for being here with me. Thank you. So welcome to every other person that is joining us. I can see another David. I can see Dreamer King. I can see Moha Mhem. Please pardon me. I can see my dearest cousin Debbie King King. Please pardon me if I'm not getting your name well, but just, accept it. Like I said earlier, I can see Ruth, Oyegazi, Trizikul. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Another Japheth Marshall. Thank you for joining us, Japheth. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So, going straight into our main reason for meeting this evening, I just want us to go right into it. Grace, what do you think? We're good to go. Are we ready? Okay, great. So let's get in. Let's just get into the deep stuff and the hot stuff. So Grace Anoforo, thank you for joining us again. I mean, I can't say this more than enough. So thank you. Tonight we're talking about, or whatever time zone you are in the evening. You can just find me saying tonight a lot of the time because that's what it looks like. I've had a very long day. from yesterday at work and all of that. So this evening, we're talking about the mindset and attitudes, to forge ahead in the midst of cultural, age-related, and gender constraints or barriers, as it may be. And we are having Grace Anufero join us today for this discussion. So I always like people to introduce themselves by themselves. So Grace, please just tell us about yourself and what you do in your own words, from your own mouth. Tell us exactly who Grace Anufero is.
Thank you very much, Doc. First off, let me say thank you for seeing me deemed fit to do this. Thank you for the privilege to do this. My name is Grace. I wear a lot of caps.
Okay.
Many people say, Madam, what exactly do you do? Well, if you know me very well, you know I'm into education and gender. So first off, I'm a Carrington Fellow of the United States Consulate. I am also a
Okay.
2020 Rotary Peace Fellow. I am
Okay.
the co-founder, the director of Bethany Elementary School, which is the very first and only German elementary school in Ogun State.
Oh, great.
Also, yeah, thank you. Also, I am the founder of a non-profit, which is which presently runs in 7 African countries, but the headquarters, of course, is in Nigeria. The board members are located. Most of us are here in Nigeria, and what we do is attend to females, the needs of females as regards empowerment and gender. And quality education. So that's basically that's me. That's me. That's what I do.
Yeah, thank you. You definitely wear so many feathers to your cap. I mean, it's so good to see that from someone who's quite young and who's really thriving, like the theme of this conversation is about. So thank you so much. I believe we didn't make mistake when we asked you to join us for this conversation. We definitely have somebody that can definitely share with us something that is very important and something we can learn from. So as we begin, I just want to know, from all this that you said you are and how you're serving humanity, how you're contributing to the world, I know that to an extent you've had your own fair share of challenges, you've had your own fair share of issues and obstacles, all those you had to navigate through, you had to overcome. And so that's why I'm beginning from this basic point and foundation. So the question now is, what exactly can we term a constraint in this instance, not only for a woman, not only for the girl child, not only for a female, but for both gender, male and female? What exactly can we term as constraints that we really need to sit back, look for solutions for them to actually forge through them?
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to start from Nigeria because I believe that, Nigeria is like the first place. So I would say that a lot of Nigerians say that the country is pulling a lot of us back, right? That, number one, Nigeria can be a constraint if you allow it.
Okay.
People talk about.
So yes, the first point, Nigeria can be a constraint if you allow it. Okay.
Yeah. If you allow it, it can, because to be honest, looking at it from the human, worldly, secular mind, to be honest, Nigeria can be very killing, of dreams. It's crazy with what is going on. You see young entrepreneurs trying to do something, and then there's taxes, abnormal. I wouldn't, it's good to pay the tax, it's good to pay tax, but the issue is when you pay these taxes, you don't even get the what's it called now, the feedback in quotes. You don't get the reasons why we pay taxes, right, is to attend to as the people, the masses, but we don't even get this thing. So you pay taxes as a young struggling entrepreneur, and the taxes they even give to you is something that is way beyond what you're supposed to. But if I'm talking from experience, alone, it's crazy, that alone. And then the fact that we don't have a conducive environment to thrive, a lot of things. And so I would say that first off, Nigeria can be a constraint, that's one. Another constraint can be your age, right? Now we find a lot of opportunities, and there's an age tag to it. They're like, okay, between the ages of 18 and 25, or if you're above 35, you can't apply, or if you're above 40, or if you're under 40. There's one opportunity I was going to apply for. I meet I met all the what's it called,
The criteria.
qualifications, but when
Okay.
I was told that I couldn't apply because I was below 40. So that was constraint. So there are some constraints that are age related, right? So that's another constraint. So a couple of them like that. A couple of them like that. Government
Okay.
policy,
Government
education,
policy. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
all of this.
Okay. So, simply put, and just to try to, paint a very good picture, because we're really going into some deep stuff tonight as we're discussing, is that a constraint can be anything at all, which is not allowing you to move on to your next level, or you achieving your goal is like limiting you, whatever it may be in the part of the world that you are in. It could be the government, it could be the governance, it could be the leadership structure, even in your family. It could be, your age, like you mentioned. It could be an entity like you mentioned, Nigeria. So whatever is limiting you from moving on to the next level of your life, of your dream, your goal, to see your visions actualized and all of that. Okay, that's so
Yeah.
good. And I think we already have a good foundation for our discussion. Okay, so before I move on to my next question, please give me a minute. I want to change my power source because Nigeria just did what they know to do best, constraints. So I want to switch to my alternate source of power. So just give me a minute, and it could be less than that. Thank you.
All right. No problem.
Okay, I'm back. I
Welcome.
am back. Thank you. All right, so yeah, moving on. So the next question I want to know is specifically for a woman, because you're a girl mentor, specifically for a woman, what are these challenges that we can really say about women in Nigeria, in Africa? Let's just be very practical about some of these challenges, what you've faced yourself personally, what you've helped other girls, other women, navigate through. Let's just highlight some of them. Let's hear what they are. And some of these things we see them, but maybe we don't know their names, so we cannot just name them to be a constraint. And we've just lived to see them as a normal thing, which they are not. So yeah, so let's just have a bit of discussion around that.
Okay, thank you. So first off, I would say that societal conditioning is a major problem among females. So we have lots of rules that target that tells girls. Let me even start from the girl child, from that level. So that targets girls, telling them that it's everywhere on social media. A girl doesn't have to. You don't have to be a dreamer. You don't have to achieve much, because eventually you're going to have a man to take care of you. So I hear this
one. That's the first one.
A lot of times, even from the girls I mentor. My focus is on girls in marginalized communities.
Okay.
And that's because these girls do not have access to social media. They don't have access to Android phones to get information, right? The other girls might have access. They're reading. They're okay. This is what's happening. But these other girls do not have. So I'm always very particular about reaching out to them. So I hear this a lot from them. There was a time when I was serving in Edo State. I noticed that there's a particular day, or no, 2 days. There are particular 2 days in a week where girls do not come to school. I was teaching in a village in Edo State. So I noticed that there were 2 particular days the girls were not coming to school.
And at all?
At all. They were not attending. The attendance rate for girls was very low. 2 particular days in the week. I don't remember the days, but there were 2 particular days. So one day I got to find out, okay, what exactly is the problem? And I was told that they had to help with their mothers in the market. Okay. And then when I even asked them personally, they tell me, Auntie, but waiting, Edo now, they spoke pidgin. Waiting we won't come, they do. She be last.
Now my house.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
I can't remember exactly, but you know, what exactly they were saying was around the fact that there's no need for them to even that. Why am I bothered? If they come to school, I should be happy that they even come. That why am I disturbing myself? You know, that's talking. So they saw that angle, that what am I stressing? And that's why you see the other time, last week or 2 weeks ago, I saw a video on Instagram, on Instablog Niger. A guy hit a girl. They are dating. So I think he broke her phone, or her iPhone. He said after all, he bought the phone for her, and that he could do anything he wanted with the phone, and that he was going to seize it. And then, you know, she was crying. She was obviously pained by what he did. I think she posted something that he didn't like, and then he slapped her, beat her, and then collected her phone. I was like, he's going to seize it. This guy is almost the same age as the girl. And I'm like, what's going on? And the girl started there. She can't say, okay, I'm not, you know, she's there because she's like, this is the guy that is providing for me. He bought an iPhone, so he's providing for me. What do I want to do with my life?
Wow.
They don't have hope because they already have that mindset that a guy will take care of them. And that's why you see many of them chasing after boys. They don't have a vision. They don't even care because they don't think that they can amount to anything. Right? The other day too, when I was pursuing for my PhD, one of my mom's friends, a man, was telling me, Grace, down now. You just finished masters. Calm down. Where are you running? Calm down. Get
Really?
married. Get married.
Really?
So that you at least you will not attract men if you are too ambitious. So an old man like a man of 50 years telling me that, you know, telling me I have to be married so that the men would come
You know,
after me.
I think I have something to just chip in at this point. While you definitely continue from where you stopped. I mean, but I've also had something like, as a woman who's not married yet, you know, don't own a car yet. Because when you start driving your car, it's gonna chase some men away. That kind of, honestly, I heard this from people I truly respect. And I'm like, so there was this lady, a very close family friend, of course, and you know, she was of that, apparently actually very wealthy, okay. But they were of the don't have a car yet, so guys will be running away from you because they feel like you are bigger than them. So this lady was now past the age they were not expecting her to get married. She was way past. So now these same people were now the one clamoring for her to now get a car, you know, and be cruising and be living a big life so that she will attract the other set of men. And I'm like, what's this confusion that is happening in this place? Honestly, these are things that happen. So please go ahead.
That's the society for you, my sister. They dictate to women, they dictate to girls. And so I feel that's one of the things that are dragging women back. Societal conditioning. That's actually, I think that's the basis of the entire thing, because societal conditioning now makes the mindset of females to, you know, you have a
that is not fruitful and is not, you know, producing results for you as a woman. It's not allowing you to see yourself in a better light and all of that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So that's the major societal conditioning. If you remove societal conditioning, females will be fine. Generally, there are others, but for females, societal conditioning is the problem. That's the problem.
I absolutely agree with you too. And I really love where this discussion is leading us to, because this would lead to my next question. And so my next question is, now that we've seen that the societal conditioning of the mind for a woman, or even a man, but particularly about the woman that we are talking about now because of the gender, is the one that is not really allowing us to, you know, really thrive and become all that is deposited on our inside to become. What are the new mindsets and attitude that we're meant to use to replace the trash and the garbage that you have picked up from our society? What kind of mindset should we begin to cultivate? What should we begin to see about ourselves? What should be the driving force of our everyday life? What kind of attitude should we wake up with every single morning when we get up on our feet and step out to the world?
Thank you for that question. Very imperative. So well, of course, we know that positive mindsets is what we need, right?
Yes,
positive.
Definitely.
You are going to have, if you're going to be successful in life, regardless of your gender, regardless of your age, regardless of your status, you need to have a positive mindset. You need to believe that this is who I am. You know, you really, and something, there's a scripture that talks about constantly renewing our mind, you know,
Yes,
lots
by
of,
the word of
yeah,
God. Yes, yes.
that talks about there's another scripture that talks about all things being possible to them who believe.
Who believe?
So,
Yeah.
you know, so I hear people talk about Shakpa. I have a mentor. She's like my big sis. So
Okay.
that's that's one of the things I tell girls: have someone you look up to, have a mentor that will help
Mm.
life. I have two mentors, and I feel they are the one. If not for them, they are the ones that have made me what I am today. Of course, with God. Now, this lady, I think it was it was in January. I went to visit her. I had a program at VI and I needed a place to stay. So I had to stay over at my big sister. I call her my big sister's
Okay.
place. So she was talking about how, you know, I went to her house and she's not married yet, but you need to see what she has achieved.
Mm.
I see how, you know, you know, we see these things on social media, how people that appear very, very, very comfortable, they have to be a certain kind of people. Maybe they have to be, when I'm talking about the secular world, they
Okay.
have to, this kind of people. But she gives me a different, she's a
Mm.
very prayerful. There's no night, no midnight you don't wake up that you don't hear this lady praying. You know,
Mm.
praying in tongues. She's power filled. You know, she can look
Mm.
at you what's wrong. You know that she has a converse. She has a, there's a level she has gotten to with God, right? Now, when
Mm.
very, very made, she's very made. If you see her house, you
Mm.
know, she's so comfortable. She doesn't appear to have any need, you know, any problem. So she was telling me how she arrived at that
Okay.
level.
Please
But
share
saying
with us if you
when people
can.
talk about Sakpa,
Mm-hmm.
she can't relate. Even if the Sakpa in quote is there, she can't just relate. Like why would Sakpa, then people are, yeah, I want to fly. It's only abroad that can bring you goodness or goodies. She tells
Mm.
us that in
These are
this
the
land
mindsets
you,
we're breaking. We're
you
pulling
can't.
down.
Like
Yes.
even if people in Nigeria are, you know, everybody is dying of hunger, she cannot.
Mm.
She
Mm-hmm.
just has that, it's just there in her head. Like Sakpa cannot,
Like
you know what,
wherever I am, I'm
you
in
get
Goshen. Wherever I am, I prosper. Home or abroad, anywhere.
utterances. She talks about utterances that we need to be careful of what we say. When you are saying Sakpa is doing you, Sakpa will catch you now. It will
Mm.
catch you. You know, so that mindset of I cannot, this is what people are. I'm not that, even if I'm there with them, we are not on the same level. I
Yeah.
can't operate. Do you understand?
Mm.
So,
Mm.
you know, it depends on what, as a child of God, especially, is what you believe about yourself. That you, I have a friend, we started the NGO together. He's my, like my co-founder. Oh, sorry, he's the VP, I'm the president. So he grew up in is it Makoko now? One of these very slum communities in Lagos.
Okay.
And, you know, for that kind of person, there was really nothing that he could amount to. His parents were very poor. He didn't even, you know, where would he have? But because growing up, he had a mindset that though my parents are from here, these are where my cousins are from. He didn't have anybody, like no relative, no friend that was from a very well-to-do home. So all his life, he knew poverty. All his life.
Mm.
But in his mind, somewhere in his mind, he knew he couldn't be like this forever. And so when he got
Mm.
graduated from school, he started applying for scholarship opportunities. I think he got over 30 rejection. He kept applying, kept applying. People were saying, guy, you know fit to who does you, who send you, who knows you,
Mm.
how you know. He kept doing, kept trying. The ones that he was selected, three universities picked him. Chevening scholarship. I can't remember the university he put him, but Chevening picked him. Mastercard
Okay.
picked him. I think Erasmus, I can't remember. At once, my guy
Mm.
had to start thinking, which one will I drop? He
Which one?
finally had to pick the other one,
Okay.
Edinburgh University, which is under Mastercard. And now he's in the UK. He's doing well. He's, you know, transferring funds to his NGO here in Nigeria, and he's doing excellently well. Someone who had no idea.
Nothing.
The only thing he had, the only instrument he had was mindset.
Was
That
mindset.
was all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think I want to chip in something at this point. Sorry, is the fact that despite the fact that he had that kind of upbringing or that background, it wasn't a
mhm,
limitation for him.
yeah.
So you see, whatever we might have experienced or not experienced should not
Mhm.
be a limitation for us to become whatever we want to become. There is nothing like Shebi that one has the opportunity now. His father was the MD CEO of a
Mm,
company, so he had the opportunity. Me, I did not have the opportunity, and so because of that, it's not an excuse. Whatever we experience or fail to experience should not be an excuse for
mhm,
us to limit us
mhm.
or hinder us from becoming what we want to become. So that's just one thing I
That-
wanted to bring out of
that.
that. Yeah. So please go ahead.
So regardless of where you are, what circumstance you find yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you need to
Mm-hmm.
have mindset. That mindset is all. I remember when
Mm-hmm.
I started getting this my fellowship awards, I used to have lots of
Okay.
rejections. And in fact, I had a friend who, at some point, he said, "We're going to apply for another application, application." And then I asked him, "How far? Are you ready? Let's do this." He said, "Oh, Grace, I'm not interested again. I'm done. Please, I'm done with all this rejection." I'm like, "Okay, if they reject you again and they reject you, what will you stand to lose? Why not just go ahead and do it?" Me, I did not send though. I kept. I did not.
That's another mindset to cultivate. No sense.
Yes,
Don't give up. Yeah, it's tenacity. We need to build tenacity and just keep doing it. Just keep, setting your mind to it. So yeah, please.
yes.
I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
So I kept pushing it because I knew that how can people be having fellowship opportunity and me, I'm here. Me, Grace, a child of
Mm-hmm.
God. Why can't this thing? Yeah, it should reach me too now. So I continued,
Mm-hmm.
and the moment I got one, every other one followed. Simply because
Mm.
of so my
Your
mindset,
mind. Yeah.
mindset is number one. Then the other attitude we need to have, or the first attitude, because the first one I talked about was mindset. Now another one attitude we need to have is that we should understand who and what we are. You cannot
Okay.
see somebody who is. Pastor said something today in church. We're talking about,
The blessing. Oh.
and knowing who,
Something. I think I saw it the flyer.
right? So if you're we already have the blessing as children of, we already have the blessing. But if you're going to activate this blessing, you need to understand that you have it. If you don't know that you have
Mm.
it, that you cannot activate.
Mm.
You can't
Mm.
say that, okay, this thing I know. I mean, you can't be a child of it. There's somebody now that probably doesn't. He was born somewhere. He doesn't know his father. He doesn't know where he comes from. But he's there suffering somewhere. Meanwhile, his father is the king of one very powerful empire, and he's looking for his son. He wants to pass down inheritance to him. He can't find him. Meanwhile, the son is somewhere slaving, and if the son had known that his father was a king, he wouldn't have to do all that. He would just go and find his father, and and then everything. So you need to understand who exactly you are. From a
Yes.
very early in my life, which I thank God for, I already knew I wanted to be a provider of female, of girls' education. I already knew I
Mm.
was going to be at some point in my life. I didn't know when, but I knew I was going to be an influencer of women's growth. So I needed
Mm.
to behave myself, because if I did, imagine if look at this. I think the VP of the lady who was the person running with this last elections. I think
Okay.
the deputy governor, one of the candidates, and then they dug up a picture from way back. She was smoking or doing whatever she was doing, and people were like, "Look at the person people want to vote for." That was it. The person we want to vote for. If she had known that she was going to run for deputy governor sometime later, 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years later, she would not have done what she did. So at
Yeah.
some point,
Right.
I had something in me. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to be a mentor to girls. I knew I was going to be a provider. I knew I was going to provide something, So I understood that, and I ensured that I was building myself towards that. I was keeping myself. I was what's it called now? Protecting myself from things that might, mar me. Things that
Yeah.
might.
The smears.
Yeah, exactly.
The dents.
So I was because I understood who I was. And as a result, because I kept building myself, I kept going for, another thing I tell people, it's not everything is not about money. One opportunity somewhere, how much would they pay me? Is there you are the one that is dolling yourself. So for every volunteering I did, for everything I did, giving my time, service I did for free, I was gaining something. I was
Yeah.
speaking, I was speaking, I was speaking, I was speaking. So now people ask me, madam, now wow, how old are you? How old did you start? That you already know all this and you're already like this. I just laugh because it's not that maybe I'm so old or I'm so young. It's just because I started free service way back because I
Yeah.
knew where I was going to. So you need to understand who you are. What exactly? Know yourself. These are the things that helps you to, when you know these things, you get yourself prepared for that future
Which
because
is
you know.
coming.
So that's one aspect to develop.
Okay.
We also need to develop assertiveness.
Assertiveness.
If there's anything that I have that a lot of people say, it's like, Grace, you are bold. Even the tells us that we have to be bold.
Yeah.
I mean,
Righteous is as bold as a lion.
you can't read
Yes.
and expect that you can't be. You cannot be. Just recently, I'm organizing an event or a program for girls in public primary schools. It's going to hold on World Book Day. So I needed a hall, and people were saying I wanted the Akarigbo hall. People were
Okay.
saying, yeah, get Akarigbo off of. We think it's like that, madam. Go and rest. I got a lot of backlash and all that. At some point, I said I wanted to see him myself because I dropped a letter. He wasn't responding. I needed to see him myself to talk about it. They said, you can't see Akarigbo. You can't ever. You can't.
Interesting.
Someone said, well, maybe the chief of staff to the Akarigbo. Maybe another person said, no, she can't even see that one. So everybody was saying, all the secretaries to that pala, everybody, they said, I can't see both chief of staff and Akarigbo.
And the himself.
Yeah, exactly. Except I had leg. So one day, I'd already accepted. Then one day, I was like, what is all this? Why can't you see the Akarigbo? Why can't you see the chief of staff? Because somebody told you so. My friend, carry your 2 left legs and enter that palace. So I entered. I went to the secretary's place. Good morning. My name is Grace. I'm I'm a fellow of the US consulate. I want to see the
And then you
here.
introduce yourself with,
I don't know where that boldness came from. I don't know where it came from. And one man sitting beside the secretary looked up at me like, who is this one talking? Secretary looked up at, where is, something like, where is that sound? I saw it in their faces.
Like they're literally sizing you up from head to toe. Like, where's that person? Who did you come with?
I wore a normal t-shirt and a jean, and they were looking at me like, who is this one? So I said, yes. How do I meet him? The lady was like, do you have an appointment? I said, no, I don't, but I have a letter to. I have a message to him from the U.S. consulate. I don't have any message from U.S. consulate. It's my message. It's my message. But I use that power of being affiliated to the U.S. consulate. She now said, okay, please have your seat. And then she went in and came back and said I should go. I'm like, what? Just we didn't let some seconds. It wasn't up to a minute, and I entered that office. And today I'm like this with the chief of staff. He even called me.
Oh wow. Once there is a will, there will definitely be a way.
You have to, be bold. You cannot be timid and get what you be.
Yes.
You can't be timid what you want. You will just be.
And I think what fuels our boldness and our courage to really go for what we want is knowing what we truly knowing, having a good vision, having a dream, and then working towards it.
Exactly.
If you don't even have a dream, if you don't have any vision, if there is nothing you are really bent on achieving, then you won't even be courageous or bold about anything. If you are laid back, like you said, the society is saying, please don't stress yourself. Maybe you end up in your husband's house. If that is your mindset, you will not be bold. You will like, maybe I'm going to my house. That's the end of everything.
Exactly. So you need to have that boldness in you, and you can't have it if you don't ask if you don't activate it, because God has given us this. The Bible tells us God has not given us the spirit of fear.
Yes.
But that of sound, we already have the sound mind, we already have the boldness by virtue of being children of God, but we have to activate. You have to activate,
oh gosh,
you need to activate.
I mean, this conversation is just bringing out so much fire and heat. I'm glad the AC is on. If not, I'm even sweating even in this AC. So gosh, it's so good, Grace. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing with us. Yes, thank you. So at this junction, I would just want to talk about specifically our society that is male dominated. And sometimes I'm tempted to feel like it's not just here in Nigeria, or it's not just this part of the world, even in so-called developed countries. I mean, there are still some settings and arenas that are male dominated.
Yeah.
So in a situation as that, as women, what are the mindsets, for forging ahead? We are not in any competition with any man to begin with. We are not in a competition with any man, but we are just trying to become all that God wants us to be, trying to be the woman with the dreams that the Lord has deposited on our inside. So what are the mindsets that we can grow on our own path that has been, created for us in a seemingly male-dominated society or environment?
Okay. Thank you for that question. First off, like I said, it's your mindset. So, you get to a place where it's male dominated, and apparently, women may not be allowed, or women are not allowed in quotes. But this is what you want to do. This is you. You won't allow whatever you are seeing to dictate. I was saying earlier, talking earlier about assertiveness.
Okay.
So if you have that look at this issue, my story of meeting the chief of staff, and then how people were saying I can't, it's not possible, it's not this, it's not that. So if I had clung on to that, if I had accepted, okay, they say I cannot, so I cannot, then I would not have achieved what I have achieved today. So I would say that for women in male dominated areas, I would say that they should look inwards. They should develop their mindset. Don't look at the environment.
Yes,
Don't look
live from the inside out.
Exactly.
Yes, don't let the fluctuating factors and workings of the environment dictate how you live.
Bam.
So good, so good.
Exactly.
But then, yes, you live from inside. From the
out.
true sense. Yes. Yes,
exactly.
So good.
So do not allow that to dictate to you. Do what you have to do, especially when that's why I always advocate for young people knowing their purpose. If you already know your purpose, you know that this is your purpose. This is your purpose in life. This is what you're supposed to do. Regardless of what's happening, you're going to focus.
Yes.
This is where I'm going to. I am sure that this is my purpose, and so I have to go ahead and achieve it. So no environmental conditions will stop you. They can try, but they will not. Eventually, they will even give way. This person is actually that's what she does, and they will allow you to go ahead and do what you have to do. So
that's so good. That's really, really so good. I mean, this is just so wonderful and phenomenal. This discussion is what I believe every woman, even male gender as well, needs to see and just hear and pick definitely more than one thing from what we are discussing. So still talking about, thriving and flourishing, being all that you want to be in the midst of a male-dominated society or a male-dominated environment. So what are those things that it seems like the male gender are very, because it seems it's quite easy for the male, to really thrive and, get up, do what you want to do. And to an extent, it's attributed to some of this mindset that the male have that the females don't have. Maybe because the females are tend to be described to be weak, and we just want to automatically just fall into that category of I can't do this. But then the male are really rolling up their sleeves and they are really getting to work. Sometimes a woman is supposed to do something and be like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm afraid of being sexually harassed. And so because of that, she just stays back and everything. So I guess some mindset also, maybe from the interaction with people, local and international, males especially, that you saw in them and you feel like, okay, this is something that we females also can pick and just cultivate that kind of attitude as well. Are there any of such?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay,
the first
please share.
Men are naturally assertive. It's in them. And like you said, it's basically because of what the society, society has made. When you're bringing up a boy and a girl, and a boy is crying, they tell the boy not to cry because he's a man, he's strong. He needs to be, what's it called now? He needs to be
Strong and
he needs to have a strong voice. Yeah, let me put it that way. So that's strong part. So boys grow up with that assertive spirit because they're expected to be, according to society, it comes with the masculine, so they grow up and that societal part is what makes the males like that. So assertiveness is number one. Another thing most fellowship, when I get selected for fellowship opportunities and we have discussions, I mean the people who select and we have discussions, they talk about how, okay, if there's a job requirement or an application and there are some requirements, number one, you must be this, number two, you must be between the age of this and this, number three, you must have a knowledge of this, that. Now generally males do not care if they have 100% of those requirements. If they have at least 50, some even 40, they will apply. But females will say
would have changed ourselves.
I don't have the something skill. Only one, yeah, they just give up. And if you even check research, I saw it in one of these what's it called, journals. Women generally, if they don't meet up to 100, not 99, 100% of the requirements, they won't apply. They have at least 100%. And I said at least 100% before they can apply. So if you don't have that, if you don't cultivate that, what's it called, do it spirit, that men have, you should also have it as a female. If you want to go anywhere, that is the kind of spirit. It's one of the things that have helped me in my journey, in this entire my journey as an entrepreneur, my journey as a social change agent. I don't care. I see opportunity. This one down, you're not qualified. The worst comes to us, they will send you rejection letter.
You say no.
You will not die. Let's go ahead and apply. So I noticed that too. I also noticed there's this a recent opportunity I was selected for. So it was an opportunity for women in Ogun State, right? We're supposed to be sponsored by Google to do some certain courses and then get a grant at the end of the course for our businesses. So now during we went on Monday, we those of us who were selected went for the first day one training, and so we met each other. We're 40 women, so we introduced each other, and I noticed that majority of the women who were selected were living in or are living in Songo, Ifo, Songo Ota. Their after is Ogun State, but those Songo, they are very close to Lagos. So
Lagos, yeah, they have.
Lagosians, actually, Songo people are Lagosians because most of them, and they just their border is just a thin line between Lagos and, they are like the border between Lagos and Ogun, so they are like Lagosians. Majority of the women that were selected, in fact, if not 90%, maybe 80%, they are from Songo. And ask me why. Because these women, you know how Lagosians can be very resilient. They said they also did for Lagos. They did for women in Lagos, and that was very highly competitive. Now, you know how Lagosians can be very competitive. I must do it and this and that. So those were the women that judge the other
right,
because they have that Lagos spirit, that fighting spirit. You have to have a fighting spirit if you want to make it. If you just sit down in your comfort zone, you will not go and get anywhere. You will not get anywhere in life. You have to leave your comfort zone. It's one thing that has helped me. And for every time I have become lazy, I say, today I don't feel like I have gotten setbacks. I have learned that the hard way. So now I'm always up and about. You don't stay for every time also that I have left my comfort zone, I have recorded, a huge success. The very first time that I got recognized as a female rights education activist was when I left this place. I went to Zamfara. People were shouting, hey, bomb, hey, they are kidnapping people there. Yeah. I'm like, I beg, I should leave me alone. I beg. I left, please. I entered bus. I didn't have the money for flight. I took it
Mm.
2019 or thereabouts. I knew I had to do something. All this my inside the room research, talking from inside the room. I needed to stop it. I needed to take a step to fixing education issues among girls. So I
Mm.
stood up and left my comfort zone. I had to be there. I had to be on the field. I had to meet the Emir of Zamfara. I had to meet certain people. I needed to do certain things, to ensure that I achieved something. And that was from then I started to get, recognition. In fact, that was when my fellowships opportunity started to come in
Where they coming
because
from?
of that singular act of leaving my comfort zone. So if you
Yeah.
are going to make like you cannot sit down and be doing jelenke. This one
Jelenke.
doesn't suit me. Choosing, it doesn't
Mm.
suit me. I cannot.
Mm.
You will just be there. You'll be stagnant for life. So those are the two major attitudes that we need
Oh,
to have.
thank you so much. Yeah, the fighting spirit and also leaving your comfort zone, and I think that's actually very good. I totally agree with you. And talking about the comfort zone, leaving your comfort zone, and that's a very good example. I mean, by the way, I really applaud you for your observation, your ability to sit back and just look and be like, okay, the number of people in this gathering, they are from this side. Why is this happening? I mean, it's also a good thing to know. Sometimes when things happen, you can just sit back and just try to, find out what exactly is the background story and try to bring out lessons from those things. And it's really good. Honestly, it's something that is so good. And this is now leading me to another point, which I don't know if you also have something to buttress on it. It's just a point, it's not a question exactly. Is the fact that as we're leaving our comfort zone, for us to really achieve what we want to achieve and get our goals and our dreams reality, it is also good for us to be in a suitable environment that spurs your growth, that improves your mindset. Like you mentioned, you gave that example of the people from Songwater because they are close to Lagos.
Yes.
I know Lagos, everybody is like trying to, become and, they are trying to push themselves. So there's this environment that really, encourages that kind of growth, that kind of coming out of your comfort zone. In this part of the world where we met in Ogun State, is a chilling place. Somewhere where you can just leave your house, get into your car, get to your destination in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And sleep well. But for someone that is in Lagos, you know how much it is for you to, really move out of your comfort zone to get your goals achieved. And also, I think that's actually very important. So the right environment, that's what I want to bring out. The
Yeah.
right environment, being with the right set of people that,
People.
really people that if you're with if your friends are only people that are in their comfort zone and they're just laid back, they are not just interested, chances are you would also be like that. But if you are with friends, I mean, if you have like maybe 5 of Grace Anuforo as your friends in your circle, please, I don't know how that kind of person is just going to remain in their comfort zone. It's not possible.
I know,
Just
right?
5 of Grace, So yeah, that is actually very important. Thank you for sharing that with us. So as we move on with our discussion this evening, I just want you to share, because this is your field. I just want you to share 1 or 2 things with us about social reformation, humanitarian services, and all of that. In case there is anyone here
Give me
who is
let me use the loop.
okay. All right, that's fine. That's okay. Okay. So yes, while we wait for Grace to get back, please, if you have any questions, you can begin to drop them now in the comments so that Grace can take your questions as we go on. And while we are also waiting for the questions to drop and for Grace to be back, let me welcome some other people that I haven't welcomed. So, Moro Moke Akindele, thank you so much for joining us this lovely evening. Debbie Ilo, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us this evening. I'm super excited to see you, ma. Thank you for joining us, ma. Jack My Ilo, thank you as well. CFA Mile 6, thank you for joining. And Pishol, thank you for joining as well. And it's Tim King, Sankim, I see you. Oguntayo Mary, I can see you as well. Okay, so Grace is back. Please don't forget to drop your questions as we are talking on, because the session will be coming not so long from this moment, because we're beginning to round up actually. where she'll be taking our questions. So please keep the questions coming in right from this point. So yes, Grace, you have the floor. You can go ahead now.
Okay, so I didn't get your question. You said I should talk about
Yes. For people that are into social information, humanitarian services, what exactly it's about, what you do with it, and I think that would also lead to fellowship opportunities, how people can actually get access to those. That's the next question.
All right, thank you for that. That's very imperative as well. Okay, so first off, as long as you're solving a problem within your community, within your country, you are actually a humanitarian. You are a social change, and you are very, very eligible to fellowship opportunities. But let's start with the humanitarian activities. Now, you don't just, it's a lot easier when you start as a volunteer. I'm talking from experience, and I'm also talking based on the stories I've heard from my friends who are into the same, So it's a lot easier for you. That way, you even get the experiences you need. You also get the network. Now, my network has been the one that has helped me. Like I told you earlier, I have 2 mentors. One of them is not in that space, but the other person is in that space, and it was through her that I got to know some of these opportunities. Through her also I got featured on some of these news media like TVC and co, because I have over time proven myself to her to be a useful resource. So you cannot have a mentor or somebody in that space and then you are either begging for money, because I have lots of proteges that do this nonsense. You have a mentor and then you will ma, please, I have not eaten, or ma, please, I need money for this one down. You will just chase such person away. Do you understand? Now you can't have it and you are not useful. Yeah, let me put it like useful for that mentor. These people are watching somehow. Then the very first time my mentor called me and said, Grace, are you available right now to be aired on? The first one was Plus TV Africa, on Plus TV, to talk about girls' education. The reason, this woman, I had known her for over 4 years before she brought that recommendation. Now, for her to have done this, before then, she invited me for a program organized by former Minister of Education, what's her name, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. I would never have seen myself ever in life in the same room like Dr. Obi and a couple of other very, high and mighty known people in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Simply because I had created an impression in the heart or in the mind of this woman, right? So over time, I had made myself available. Over time, I had been a good mentee. Over time, I had also proven my what's it called now, my service. When you are someone who always gives service, you can sometimes a lot of young, this Gen Z, I always say it's everything money about the money. What money? So many things that money will not give you. I've learned this from my few years of experiences in life. Money will not give us many of these things that we are clamoring for. What will give us these things are the gift of people. And you cannot have the gift of people if you cannot serve. If you are not someone that can serve, you cannot have the gift of people. So now in humanitarian service, the gift of people actually helps to pave way. The one I went to do in Zamfara, when I got there, I honestly didn't know that I was going to, I had planned I was going to get my own accommodation, look for how to move around. But to my surprise, I was picked up at the what's it called? It's not garage, I want to call it, by the people I already made contact with. And this by virtue of how long I had come, how I had served. Now they picked me up, they put me in a hotel. They were the ones who took me to see the Emir of Zamfara, and a couple of other traditional rulers and stakeholders. This is one thing that money will not give you. You can have your money, you can go and rent, but you will be lost in town. That is yeah, so you can get lost.
You'll be lost inside town. You and your money, you'll be lost.
You'll be lost. And then it's an Islam place. They were the ones who advised me to tie that turban. So I looked like a Muslim. So a northerner, and the stakeholders were very happy to see me because I had people who told me, who advised me on what to wear. So if you have your money, you have it, but nobody will advise you, and you can even get yourself in trouble. they can kidnap you and say you are not one of them. What are you doing here? You get. So this is what acts of service will give you. So if you want a career in humanitarian, because it pays a lot to be in this field, I mean, you get millions of opportunities. You get paid to study abroad, and then it's for free. Your study is free, and they are paying you on top of it again to study for free. You know what that is? That is, So when I started to enjoy this, I told myself I will never ever pay to study abroad with my money. I cannot be Grace Anuforo and be paying to study abroad when I have sown seeds. So humanitarian service helps you to sow seeds in the lives of people. And when you do this, when you give back to the community, somehow it comes back to you. These opportunities are for people who do things for their community, no matter how little, even if it's just one with that problem they're looking for. So it gives you that, and then that's one. Secondly, applying for opportunities. I have two sites I use: opportunitydesk.org. Opportunitydesk.
Opportunitydesk.org. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get that?
I didn't get the second one. The network was breaking, but I got the first one. Opportunitydesk.org.
Yes, the second one is opportunitiesforafricans.com. Opportunities for Africans.com.
All right. Okay.
Those are my two plugs for people in the humanitarian field. Even if you're not in the humanitarian field, then there are lots of links in those sites for women too. So I get most of my women-related opportunities there. It's wonderful how this is like the best time to be a woman.
Really?
The world understands that women are so far.
So
now you have opportunities for us. So many of them. So just enjoy yourself with this.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It has been almost an hour of taking up so much wisdom, taking up practical lessons, the mindsets, the attitudes we need to take, being out of our comfort zone, being assertive, and being ready to serve and all of that. I mean, and you also finally just shared some resources with us that I believe everyone would look into after this call and this conversation together. So thank you so much, Grace, for joining me. It's really a huge honor to have you say yes to my invitation. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. I asked this earlier, but I didn't get any. So please, if you have any questions, this is the time for you to drop your questions. Let's take them. If you're on this call and you have questions, please drop them now. While I ask Grace to just give us a word, any word for the guys, for the male gender. What do you have to say to them, coming from a female?
Yeah, our men are wonderful people. We cannot do without
God. We cannot.
What can we do without you?
Absolutely nothing.
We are nothing without you. So because of this, we want to keep asking you want to ask you to continue to support us. We also want to implore you, when you see your fellow male doing something not so nice to a female, don't, I find it among a lot of guys. I find these particular traits among lots of guys. I don't know whether maybe because they call them a simp or something. They call guys simp when they stand up to evils done against women. But I feel like you are an enabler if you cannot speak up, against you find a guy catcalling. I mean, I have an experience like that. A guy was catcalling my sister. She went out to get something in the morning. He was catcalling her. She didn't respond. She was asking the woman, please, I want to buy this. The guy kept doing, and they called me like, no, she did not answer. She did not answer. She continued, madam, please, I want to. He now came to her front and pushed. When you want to fight, you push. And he had lots of guys with him. He had his friends. So he's like, sister, they talk to you. Answer me, I'm talking to you. What's wrong with you? And he said, and you know, my sister can be bold, yes, but sometimes you have to be wise. This guy had other guys with him, and it was early in the morning, right? So if we never know if that guy was drunk before he would carry knife and stab. So she had to be wise about it. So she didn't talk. She continued talking to the woman. The guy, instead of his friends to tell him the truth, that guy, calm down now, why you, or something, you know. And we thank God that eventually nothing happened. But the point is, I can't imagine having a son that has such a friend and cannot stand up to his friend. You know, it's not cool. So we beg you, as good as you may be, if you don't stand up, you know, against something wrong, may God not let anything bad happen to your own female relatives, because these people are out there. It's true. Male toxicity is real, and we have so many wonderful men, but we hope that gradually toxicity will die down. We also hope that our men continue to support us. We'll also be praying for them to continue being the wonderful men that they are. Thank you for giving us. I mean, you see, I made some reference to men, that men are resilient, men are assertive. It's because we are seeing good examples from you. That's why we are copying you. So please continue to give us good examples so that we'll continue to copy you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's it on the final notes from Grace. Thank you so much, Grace. In the absence of any questions, this is where we'll be drawing the curtain of this evening's conversation. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If I go on to take the roll call for today, it's going to be longer than that of last episode, because I know quite a number joined us. But thank you so much, everybody. I see you, I appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of this. And to the other people that will be watching this later on Instagram or YouTube, I'm really sure you had a great time seeing this. So thank you once again, Grace. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for spending this 1 hour, very precious time with us this evening. So this is where we draw the curtain and say good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the parts of the world. All right, Grace. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. We are good.